the Indiana Fever delivered an unforgettable game. Picture this: Caitlin Clark, the rookie who's been making waves in the league, played all 45 minutes of a game that went into overtime. Yep, 45 minutes straight, and that's just the start. Clark didn't just lead the Fever to a tough 104-100 win over the Atlanta Dream. She also became the fastest player in WNBA history to hit 300 career assists. But that's not all. Her teammate, Aliyah, had the best game of her career on the very same night. The first quarter was electric, with the Fever and Dream trading baskets right from the jump. Clark showed she was locked in early, sinking a three-pointer within the first few minutes.
Boston gets it back to Clark, sidesteps Howard, she will launch and knock down a three.
The Atlanta Dream wasn't backing down, with Rhyne Howard answering back with her own sharp shooting. By the end of the first quarter, the Fever had a narrow 22-21 lead, setting the stage for a closely contested game. In the second quarter, things heated up even more. The Dream, led by Howard and Alicia Gray, pulled ahead by 6 points. But the Fever weren't going down easily. Lexi Hull stepped up, sinking 2 clutch three-pointers to keep them in the fight. Despite their efforts, the Dream managed to take control, going into halftime with a 48-44 lead. If you thought it was intense by then, the third quarter kicked things up a notch. The Dream extended their lead to 16 points, and it seemed like the Fever were losing their grip. But this is where Caitlin Clark and her squad worked their magic. Clark started finding her rhythm, making pinpoint assists and draining crucial shots. Meanwhile, Aliyah dominated the boards, grabbing key rebounds and converting them into points. By the end of the third quarter, the Fever had cut the lead to just 3 points, with the score at 69-66 in favor of the Dream. The fourth quarter was one of the most thrilling moments of the season. It was a battle between two determined teams. Clark continued to lead the Fever's offense with precision, while Boston was unstoppable around the basket. The game was tied multiple times in the closing minutes. With 18 seconds left, Boston hit a huge shot to tie the game at 90, sending it into overtime. Overtime was pure intensity. Clark and Boston kept up their dominance, but the Dream fought back hard. It was a back-and-forth exchange of baskets right up until the final seconds. In the end, Clark's composure at the free throw line sealed the Fever's 104-100 victory. This game showed just how much the Indiana team is growing, and with the playoffs on the horizon, they're showing some promising signs. What can we even say about Clark that hasn't been said already? Well, here's one for you. She played all 45 minutes of the game. Unreal, right? But the numbers back it up. Clark wrapped up the night with 26 points, 12 assists, and 5 rebounds. That's not just a double-double, it's complete court control. And the biggest highlight? She became the fastest player in WNBA history to hit 300 career assists. We're talking about a rookie shattering records that seemed untouchable. Her court vision is something else. If Clark was the conductor, Aliyah was the unstoppable force. Boston had the game of her career, dropping 30 points and grabbing 13 rebounds. Another double-double, but more than that, it was pure dominance. She was a force in the paint, turning Clark's assists into easy buckets and creating second chances with her offensive rebounding. Boston was incredibly efficient, hitting 11 out of 16 shots. And let's not forget Kelsey Mitchell. While Clark and Boston were stealing the show, Mitchell quietly had a standout game herself, with 21 points and a solid 50% shooting. She was the quiet but critical third piece of the puzzle, delivering when the Fever needed it most. Mitchell showed why she's one of the top shooters in the league, sinking clutch shots to help seal the victory. The trio of Clark running the show, Boston owning the paint, and Mitchell hitting from the outside is a combination that could take the Fever deep into the playoffs. And speaking of playoffs, with performances like this, the Fever are proving they're not just here to make up the numbers, they're here to compete for a title. A key moment in the game came in the third quarter when the Dream opened up a 16-point lead. That could have been the moment many teams threw in the towel, but not the Fever, and definitely not Clark. She kicked off a series of plays that completely turned the game around. She drained a three-pointer and followed it up with 2 quick assists to Boston. Just like that, the 16-point gap started to shrink. This was where Clark's championship mentality really showed. She didn't just rack up points, she elevated the play of her whole team. This game summed up the Fever season. Flashes of brilliance, some adversity, and overcoming challenges. But most of all, it showcased the heart and determination of this young squad, led by Clark and Boston. For what feels like forever, the WNBA has been constantly criticized and mocked.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't like the WNBA just because it's not good.
Basketball fans have poked fun at the empty championship parades and laughed at the small MVP trophies that looked like they came from a dollar store. Some even fell asleep while sitting courtside at games. Online, jokes circulate like, "I'm so mad. I had 2 WNBA tickets in my car, and today someone broke in, and now I have 4 WNBA tickets." You get the idea? The WNBA's image and reputation have been less than impressive.
The WNBA officials expanded to 10 teams this week, adding franchises in Detroit and Washington, D.C. But before you get too excited about the new additions to the league, remember, all of the players are still women.
Honestly, as a diehard NBA fan, the only WNBA trade that ever grabbed my attention was when Brittany Griner was exchanged for the Merchant of Death. It might sound harsh, but I'm just trying to highlight the fact that the WNBA has been so under the radar that even big basketball fans like me hardly hear about it. Lately, though, that seems to be shifting. Lately, it seems like everywhere I turn in the basketball world, it's all about Caitlin Clark. Even during the 2024 NBA Finals, her name kept popping up. As a basketball fan, you just can't avoid hearing about her. After watching her games, reading articles, and listening to her interviews, it's clear why the hype is real. Her shooting is unbelievable, and the rest of her game is just as impressive. People are calling her the female Steph Curry, while others compare her to the legendary Pistol Pete Maravich. Before she even set foot in the WNBA, she was already being mentioned alongside some of the greatest names in the sport. Right now, she's completely changing the landscape of women's basketball, and many believe she's the most groundbreaking women's player of all time. In a league that's been struggling financially since its start, she's probably the only player who can truly draw fans and fill stadiums, boosting revenue along the way.
You just really 17,000 people at the game yesterday, bro.
And listen,
At 10:30 in the morning. God damn.
matinee.
Her story right now reminds me a lot of Ronda Rousey, the former UFC champion who put women's MMA on the map when no one was paying attention. From that perspective, the WNBA should be incredibly thankful because they finally have a chance to step out of the shadows and into the spotlight. Yet, instead of embracing her, they're attacking, bullying, and doing everything they can to corner and shut her down. Why is that? Why is the WNBA openly going after their star player, the one person who has a real shot at transforming their sport?
Up in time, Clark for the win!
This is why Caitlin Clark will go down as one of the best to ever play the game.
To understand why some WNBA players are turning against Caitlin Clark, we first need to take a closer look at the league's culture. About 7 years ago, a former WNBA champion and top draft pick revealed that she was bullied within the league due to her sexual orientation and popularity. In her own words, she said, "I wanted to play 2 more seasons of WNBA, but the experience wasn't good for my mental health. I didn't like the culture in the WNBA, and without saying too much, it was toxic for me. It broke my spirit." Following her statement, many WNBA players denied the claims, saying her experience was personal and didn't represent the league as a whole. While their point might be fair, her story becomes more believable when you start adding up other examples. Take Luka Doncic, for instance. When he first joined the NBA, he tried to show support for the WNBA by creating what seemed like a harmless video.
What's up, Ricky? I know you're having a great season, so just keep pushing. I know you're going to be the rookie of the year, so best of luck to you.
The video Luka Doncic created was completely harmless and, if anything, leaned towards being positive. The WNBA could have either thanked him or just stayed silent if they didn't agree with it. Instead, the Minnesota Lynx responded harshly with a tweet saying, Says a guy who hasn't been to a WNBA game all season but got sent a jersey and recorded a scripted video. The tweet is still up if you want to find it. It was never deleted. This reflects a broader mindset within the WNBA. Another recurring issue is that the league has often complained about pay, arguing they deserve higher salaries simply because NBA players earn so much.
We are not asking you to get paid what the men get paid. We're asking you to get paid the same percentage of revenue shared.
Okay.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Got it.
And here is the women's basketball world choosing to reject the attention that is finally coming their way by rejecting Caitlin Clark.
The WNBA has really missed out by passing on Caitlin Clark. She's not just any rookie, she's the most exciting thing to happen to the WNBA, NCAA, and women's basketball in general. But here's an intriguing twist. She got left out of the Team USA women's basketball roster. Talk about a major surprise for 2024.
Look, let's be honest, most people didn't even know they had women's basketball in the Summer Olympics. Now you have a chance to do this, and you don't take it, so here.
In basketball, having top-notch skills and fierce competitiveness can overshadow even the biggest teams worldwide, and Caitlin Clark embodies all of that. So, what could be behind Team USA's decision not to include the Indiana Star rookie? First, let's take a look at Clark's performance in her rookie year with the WNBA. Despite the Indiana Fever's 3-for-29 season, Clark shined individually, averaging 16.8 points, 6.3 assists, and 5.3 rebounds. Her performance and impact are unprecedented for a rookie in the WNBA. So why isn't she on the Team USA roster? Experience can't be the excuse, considering the USA national basketball team's history of selecting rookies. Since women's basketball was added to the Olympics in 1976, at least 2 players under 25 have been included in every Olympic roster. The youngest ever to play for the USA women's team was Nancy Lieberman at 18 in 1976. In the Tokyo Games, the youngest were Asia Wilson and Nafisa Collier, both 24. Additionally, there's a precedent for including the top WNBA draft pick in Olympic years, such as Diana Taurasi in 2004, Candace Parker in 2008, and Breanna Stewart in 2016. The U.S. team didn't include Ndamukadi Agwumaike in the lineup back in 2012, even though she was with Los Angeles and now Seattle. Now, Caitlin Clark finds herself in a similar situation. During her time at Iowa, Clark became the Division I career scoring leader for both men and women, finishing with 3,951 points. She also reached the national championship game in both her junior and senior years.
Look, let's be honest, most people didn't even know they had women's basketball in the Summer Olympics. Now you have a chance to do this, and you don't take it, so here.
However, selecting Clark would have meant more than just highlighting her story. It would have introduced Olympic viewers and readers, many of whom aren't avid sports fans or haven't seen a women's Olympic basketball game, to the entire U.S. team. If you hadn't seen Breanna Stewart in her previous Olympic appearances, you would have tuned in this summer because of Clark's star power. The same goes for Brittany Griner. If she's healthy, she won't be there, and thus, many fans won't follow, as they usually don't. Imagine the global interest Clark could have generated, with reporters and fans from around the world watching her make stunning plays and signing autographs. Little girls in Europe and Africa might have been just as captivated as those in the USA. It all comes down to USA Basketball, whose mission is to promote, grow, and elevate the game at all levels. Missing out on representing your country in the Olympics is undoubtedly disheartening, and Caitlin Clark likely felt that way when she learned she hadn't made the 12-player roster for the Paris Games. On Sunday, Caitlin Clark and Fever coach Christy Sides addressed the news for the first time since it was announced that the top overall pick didn't make Team USA's final roster for the 2024 Olympics in Paris next month. Clark maintained her usual calm demeanor when reacting to the news, but Sides revealed her star's immediate response. Clark got the call while on the bus and texted Sides to share the news. Sides tried to keep her spirits up, and Clark's reaction was, "Hey coach, they woke a monster." which sides found impressive. Clark noted that the team's mix of talent and experience, none of the players being younger than 26, was a key factor in her not making the roster. Despite this, Clark expressed enthusiasm for the players who did make the team. She said, "I'm excited for the girls on the team. I know it's the most competitive team in the world, and it could have gone either way, with me being on the team or not. I'll be rooting for them to win gold. Watching the Olympics has always been a dream for me, and this just adds motivation. Hopefully, in 4 years, I can be there." Clark was invited to the most recent training camp in April, which would have been her first chance to work with the senior national team, but she couldn't attend due to the Final Four. Nonetheless, she gave herself a strong chance with a standout rookie season. However, she has faced challenges with the physicality of the game and leads the league in turnovers, averaging 5.6 per game. These issues, along with the talent and experience of the players ahead of her, seem to be the reasons she didn't make the final roster. According to Christine Brennan of USA Today, Team USA veterans were concerned about how Clark's large fan base might react if she were chosen, but received limited playing time. Clark didn't go into details about the decision, but mentioned that USA Basketball called her to deliver the news before it was publicly leaked on social media. On the bright side, Clark will finally get a break when the WNBA takes a pause for the Olympics. She's been playing almost non-stop since her senior season at Iowa started in October. Once the Fever finish their pre-Olympic schedule on July 17th, they won't play again until August 16th. "I'm really looking forward to a break," Clark said. "I've loved every second of competing, but it will be great to rest, get healthy, and take a bit of time away from basketball. It'll be nice to find some peace and quiet for myself." There's a slight chance Clark could still join the team as an injury replacement. Notably, Chelsea Gray, who was selected, hasn't played in 8 months due to a foot injury, and it's unclear when she'll return. As one of the top playmakers, Clark could be next in line if Gray isn't back in time. However, Clark is focusing on the Fever and their effort to climb out of the 11th seed. "If USA Basketball needs something, I have a good relationship with them, but the 12 players they've selected are really great," Clark said. "I think they're in good hands. Cheryl Reeve is a great coach, and the selection committee did a really good job." Some media personalities suggest that not making Team USA could turn out to be a blessing in disguise for Clark. Jamel Hill, formerly of ESPN, suggested that not competing for the gold medal might actually be beneficial for Clark. In just a few weeks, Clark transitioned from college basketball to becoming a professional and dealing with a demanding schedule. A multi-week break could be just what she needs, Hill mentioned in an X post. Clark had almost no offseason. Her college career ended on April 7th after a long 6-month season, and just a week later, she was the first overall pick in the WNBA draft by the Indiana Fever. She started practicing almost immediately, with the Fever's preseason beginning 11 days before the WNBA season kicked off on May 14th. The WNBA season will take a nearly month-long break for the Olympics, with the Fever off from July 18th to August 15th. This will be the longest gap between games for Clark since before her final season at Iowa started. When Caitlin walked into the Indiana training camp, the excitement was palpable. Everyone turned to look at her, filled with curiosity and hope. People started comparing her to the legendary Larry Bird, highlighting the high expectations and excitement surrounding Caitlin's game. Back in 1979, Larry Bird joined the Boston Celtics right after his college days at Indiana State. Before he arrived, the Celtics had just endured their worst season ever, finishing with a 23-59 record. But Bird's rookie season sparked a dramatic turnaround, with the Celtics achieving a 61-21 record and clinching the Atlantic Division title. This phenomenon became known as the Larry Bird effect. Could Caitlin Clark bring about a similar change for the Fever as Bird did for the Celtics? Last year, the Fever finished with a 13-27 record, and the year before, they had the worst record in the WNBA at 5-31. The potential for transformation is clear. Just as Bird took the Celtics from their worst season to division champions, Clark has the chance to revitalize the Fever. If she can replicate Bird's impact, she might lead the Fever back to playoff contention, something they haven't seen since Tamika Catching's last season in 2016.
That's new to me. I think no matter what is going to happen, there's always going to be expectations and pressure on my shoulders and pressure on this team to be really good. And that's how you want it. That's exactly, we wouldn't want anything else.
The excitement was palpable as the Indiana Fever kicked off their 2024 training camp at Gainbridge Fieldhouse. The familiar sounds of sneakers on the court, swishing nets, and teammates communicating filled Salesforce Court as the Fever returned for their first day of on-court action. Most of the team was there, including stars like Caitlin Clark and Aliyah Boston, ready for an intense 2-day training camp. Head coach Christy Sides and her coaching staff wasted no time putting the players through their paces, evaluating their skills and chemistry. For Clark, this was her first official practice as a professional player, and she didn't disappoint. She showed the same talent and determination that earned her accolades in college, eager to make her mark in the WNBA. Despite the challenges and whirlwind of recent months, Clark was grateful for the opportunity to be back on the court with her teammates.
I say I'm a pro by any means, but it's been fun. I think it definitely has a big city feel, but at the same time, it feels small and it's easy to get around. I mean, I'm staying mostly in downtown Indianapolis. I'm not driving everywhere yet.
As the Fever geared up for their preseason games, Clark felt the pressure and excitement of playing at the professional level. She seemed ready to see what the team could achieve, confident in their abilities. Caitlin Clark is set to make her WNBA debut with the Fever in the 3rd week of May, but she wants to remind everyone that she's human, not a magician. As the top pick in a highly anticipated WNBA draft class, the weight of expectations is heavy, but she's handling it well. She's urged people not to expect miracles right away, emphasizing the importance of giving herself grace as she transitions to the pros. Clark acknowledges that perfection isn't realistic and that there will be challenges. She's not aiming to score 40 points per game from the start. Instead, she plans to learn from her teammates, enjoy the journey, and stay true to herself. The excitement around Caitlin is so strong that even her workout sessions have become viral sensations. During her first Indiana Fever workout on Tuesday, a 15-second clip of her shooting around quickly gained traction online. As the #1 pick in the recent WNBA draft, Clark showed her skills by going a perfect 5 for 5 in the video. This impressive performance follows her remarkable college career, where she became the NCAA's all-time leading scorer with 3,951 points at Iowa. Fever's training camp has captivated fans more than ever. During a scrimmage, Caitlin impressed everyone by dribbling past a male player and nailing a three-pointer. A fan posted a video of the play online, dubbing it, "Caitlin Clark broke his ankle," due to how she faked out her opponent. Teammate Erica Wheeler cheered her on with a playful "bye-bye boy" as the guy tried to keep up and nearly twisted his ankle. Dick's Sporting Goods even chimed in on social media, praising Erica for her support. Erica, who has been playing in the WNBA for 9 years, has been a big fan of Clark's from day one. Despite being a star and the top pick by the Fever from Iowa, Clark is still considered a rookie. Erica noted, "She's one of the best players in the world right now, but she's so humble. She's always asking for advice and trying to improve." Clark understands there's a big difference between college and professional basketball, but she's ready for the challenge. She's excited about the faster pace of the WNBA, saying it suits her style. "The coaches here have been watching me for a while and have some great plays lined up," Clark said. "I feel like I'm in good shape since I just played in the NCAA championship game." She's been keeping busy with basketball and feels confident and ready to make her mark in the WNBA. As Caitlin's fame continues to rise, Indiana is also seeing a boost in new advertising partnerships. The Indiana Fever, influenced by Caitlin Clark's selection, recently signed a major ad deal with Indiana-based pharmaceutical company Eli Lilly. This partnership introduces jersey ads to the WNBA, following a trend seen across various professional sports leagues. Starting the season, Eli Lilly's logo will appear on the left shoulder of Fever jerseys, highlighting the growing collaboration between sports and business in the state. Pacers Sports and Entertainment CEO Rick Fuson expressed excitement about the partnership, emphasizing its potential to bring attention to important issues such as support for female athletes and community health initiatives in Indiana.
Edub compared Indiana to Hollywood when we talked to her. I know the excitement has kind of followed you for a little while, but I'm curious your spin on that and Indiana in particular.
I'll agree with Edub there, I guess. I don't know.
The excitement surrounding Caitlin Clark is unprecedented, and fans are eager to see her off the court just as much as on it. Fans are gearing up to watch Caitlin Clark make her WNBA debut this Friday, with the Indiana Fever set to take on the Dallas Wings in a preseason game. Despite being an exhibition match, ticket prices have surged, even surpassing those for a crucial NBA playoff game in Clark's new hometown. As of Wednesday afternoon, the cheapest ticket for the Fever vs. Wings game was a whopping $595 on TickPick. Located in Section 209, Row MM at the College Park Center in Arlington, Texas, including all fees. These prices are comparable to many regular season NBA tickets, and notably higher than the entry price for Thursday night's Pacers-Bucks NBA playoff game at Gainbridge Fieldhouse in Indianapolis, which stood at $36 for the cheapest ticket on TickPick. The high ticket prices for the Fever Wings game can be attributed to the limited seating capacity at the College Park Center, which can only accommodate around 7,000 spectators. This situation has prompted several WNBA teams to upgrade their arena arrangements in anticipation of matches against the Indiana Fever. The Fever, in turn, hosted all their games that season at Gainbridge Fieldhouse after previously playing at the smaller Indiana Farmers Coliseum. Other WNBA teams, like the Las Vegas Aces and Washington Mystics, also shifted their home games against the Fever to larger NBA-sized arenas to meet the demand from fans. The WNBA's Dallas Wings experienced a historic moment as they sold out season tickets for the first time in the franchise's history just before their preseason opener against the Indiana Fever on May 3rd. The anticipation surrounding Caitlin Clark's debut with the Fever fueled a surge in ticket demand, driving up sales for the Dallas team. Individual ticket prices for Clark's preseason debut ranged from $210 to $350, with some exceeding $1,000 in certain sections, according to UTA Tickets. The Wings also saw a significant increase in overall ticket sales revenue, with a staggering 220% rise, including an impressive 1,200% surge in individual ticket sales revenue, according to the Dallas Morning News. This surge highlights the profound impact of Clark's presence on both the Fever and the wider WNBA community, sparking unmatched excitement and engagement among fans. Caitlin Clark's talent is undeniable, and she's been proving it from her very first games. Even the biggest names in history need time to showcase their full potential, especially in major leagues like the NBA and WNBA. As Clark continues to get acclimated to the WNBA, her mindset and skills are being honed to make her an even more formidable player. Her quick learning ability is evident in her evolving perspectives. Before her debut as a rookie, Clark didn't see much difference between the NCAA and the WNBA. "I don't think it'll be any different from college," Clark said. "I've played in front of big crowds every single game, so these environments don't scare me or affect me at all. I think just embrace it and enjoy it. I'm sure there will be a lot of basketball fans here who really appreciate the game." However, her perception shifted after her first game. She has since admitted several times that the WNBA game is much more physical than she anticipated. She experienced this physicality firsthand during the Indiana Fever's third straight loss on Saturday. "The physicality is definitely up there. I'm easily pushed off screens," Clark told reporters. "The game seems a little fast for me right now, but the more I play and the more comfortable I get, it's going to slow down a bit. It'll be easier for me to make reads and see things develop. Clark is quickly adapting to the game, showing significant improvement with each match. On Monday, the Fever nearly secured a win, but narrowly lost 88-84 to the Connecticut Sun. Clark scored 17 points, hitting 5 of 11 shots and making all 4 free throws. Despite injuring her ankle, she played for 27 minutes, adding 5 assists, 3 rebounds, and 5 turnovers. Although the Fever lost, the game was a clear sign of their progress. Veteran guard Kelsey Mitchell, who started the season with an ankle injury, has been regaining her form, which has benefited Clark. In the final moments of Monday's game, Clark played a key role, contributing to 17 of the Fever's 23 fourth-quarter points. The excitement surrounding Caitlin Clark is at an all-time high, and for good reason. Some frustrated fans have even edited the Wikipedia page of Indiana head coach Christy Sitz following Clark's first 2 WNBA preseason games. Clark played in 2 preseason matches for the Fever, but has not yet participated in a regular season game. Fans are already expressing their dissatisfaction with side's management of Clark, who is expected to be a key player in the WNBA. Clark had a strong preseason debut against the Dallas Wings, but shot 4 for 12 in last Thursday's game against the Atlanta Dream. Sides commented on Clark's performance, saying, "I think she's used to some shots that she's taken in the last few years that are just those shots she's going to get open looks. She's got to figure it out. I gave her a rule the other day. She has 0.5 seconds to make a decision." Christy Sides also talked about Clark needing to change some habits. When she gets off the ball and hits someone in the high post, she tends to hang out and dance around. That's something she's used to doing, and it's a habit we need to break. One of Clark's upset fans even accused Sides of trying to undermine Clark's game, editing Sides' Wikipedia page to claim she's the only coach capable of damaging what the WNBA aims to achieve with Clark. The edited entry in the Indiana Fever section reads, "Sides got her first head coaching job in 2022 when she was hired as the 9th head coach in Indiana Fever franchise history and the only coach that could possibly ruin what the WNBA is on track to accomplish by ruining Caitlin Clark's game." During Caitlin Clark's pre-game warm-up in Brooklyn on Saturday, she paused for an interview with NBC's Today hosts Hoda Kotb and Jenna Bush Hager. Later, she posed in uniform with Trailblazer Billie Jean King. In between, Clark played a game, scoring a career-high 22 points with 8 assists and 6 rebounds. Notable figures like Jason Sudeikis, Megan Rapinoe, Sue Bird, and Dawn Staley watched as she dominated the court. Clark's first week in the WNBA highlighted both her star power and the challenges of transitioning from college to the pros. She debuted in Connecticut and Indianapolis, and following her first game in New York City, she received mixed reactions. Fans eagerly awaited wearing number 22 shirts and holding signs, and Clark tried to accommodate as many selfie and autograph requests as possible. Caitlin acknowledged that she needs to handle physicality better, be more decisive in navigating screens, and develop more chemistry with Indiana's posts. She assisted last year's Rookie of the Year, Aliyah Boston, on 4 of Boston's 12 field goals in 2023. Indiana guard Erica Wheeler assisted Boston on 24% of her field goals, according to PBP stats. Clark's assists to Boston haven't been evenly distributed across games. The Fever knows they have much to improve on as a team. Through 3 games, they are allowing 18 fast break points and 17.3 second chance points per game, both second highest in the WNBA, a significant drop from last year. Their defense is conceding more than 116 points per 100 possessions, the worst in the league. Failing to contest shooters in the first half of their loss to New York on Saturday was as damaging as any offensive issues. Clark often talks about the importance of being kind to herself. She's seen both the ups and downs of being a pro, becoming the first WNBA player to record 21 turnovers in their first 21 games, and the second after Candace Parker to achieve over 50 points, 15 assists, and 10 rebounds, according to Across the Timeline. I know people expect me to do amazing things, but it might take some time, she said on Tuesday. On Saturday, she added, I think the more we play together, the better our chemistry will be. Despite the Fever's 0-3 start, Coach Christy Sides noted progress. The team faced tough losses, including a 21-point defeat to Connecticut and a 36-point blowout on Thursday. Before Saturday's game, Sides stressed the need to compete and asked her team to understand what that looks and feels like. The 11-point loss to New York showed more of the fight Sides wanted. We couldn't figure that out the other night, and that was so frustrating, Sides said. Now we kind of have an idea of where we are. The Fever are a young team with potential, competing against some of the WNBA's best. This is going to take a little time, All-Star guard Kelsey Mitchell said on Saturday. Mitchell, recovering from an ankle injury, came off the bench in Indiana's first 2 games. Playing against the best of the best is the only way we're going to get better. During one sequence in the second quarter on Saturday, Clark missed a deep three-pointer, giving the ball back to Liberty. On New York's next offensive possession, Ionescu faked a pass, then nailed a 3 while Clark failed to contest. Running back on defense, Ionescu shrugged as if to say Clark shouldn't have left her open. She never stops moving, Clark said of Ionescu. She's always on the move, always got a bounce in her feet, and I think that's something I can try to replicate in my game. Clark is getting used to her new pro routine. At Iowa, the Hawkeyes would sometimes show up 90 minutes before tip-off, warm up, and play. But for Tuesday's opener at Mohegan Sun Arena, she arrived more than 2 hours early. In the locker room, Clark ate a peanut butter and jelly sandwich and joked with Wheeler while getting a massage. She's not used to being at the gym this early, so I told her she needs to find things to do, whether that's stretching, watching film, or filling the time, Wheeler said. Clark hasn't had much downtime, as Indiana's opening stretch includes 7 games in 12 days, with matchups against the Sun, Seattle Storm, and Las Vegas Aces in the next week. When asked about her activities outside of basketball, Clark said, I'm about to move into my apartment, so I'm moving out of the hotel. That's fun. Veteran Fever center Mika Catchings praised Clark's composure, saying, I'm so proud of how she is as a person. I just hope we can band around her. It's a lot of pressure. Clark, handling pressure from both her team and the sport, is focused on playing fast and competing. She looks forward to visiting new arenas and making memories. I'm going to remember a lot of these games because it's my first year in the league, Clark said. Those who watch her play will remember too. Share your thoughts about Caitlin's WNBA games and her super adaptive nature in the comments below.